Good morning, everybody. Yesterday was an interesting day in the clinic. I had my second client. Actually, she's been with me for a couple of years now, coming in for different tune-ups and stuff throughout her teenage years. She's only 15 years old, but when she first came to me, she was about 13, and she's been into dancing, hip hop, all that sort of thing. Pretty much since she was a child. So anyhow, yesterday, whenever she came in, we did some assessing on her because what I noticed is that from the first time I treated her, doing massage therapy for her back pain, her spine was all lined up nicely. Her hips were off a little bit, but nothing out of the ordinary. But what happened was, whenever I saw her yesterday, I noticed that she had a scoliosis forming and stuff with what we call a rotoscoliosis. So that's where the lumbar spine on her right side was actually rotating, was twisting. So basically from left to right. And obviously that's going to cause a lot of problems with back pain and also twisting of the spine up top through the thoracic spine, the part that holds the rib cage together. And so anyway, so she's getting this twisting down below that's going left to right, and then up top it's going right to left, so the opposite compared to the lumbar spine. So anyhow, so I was trying to figure out, okay, well, what's going on? What is driving this? Why is she getting this kind of issue? Because a couple of years ago, she didn't have this problem. So you have to look at the client's history and what was going on, within her life and stuff as well. Well, her parents had gone through a major separation and a divorce. Now you will see this quite often actually with children that have been going through divorce and stuff like that. If there's a lot of the psychological component to it, where they can get this twisting of the spine or other issues that are going on within the body, because the body is basically a reservoir for holding on to onto the emotions and stuff, right? So it's all been proven through science. There's many books I can refer you to on this sort of thing. Lots of studies and everything too. So anyhow, so that's one factor when you're looking at her history. The other thing too is whenever I was going through and just kind of evaluating what was going on, she also had a lot of orthodontic work, so a lot of dental work done over the years with braces, Invisalign, having to wear these retainers and stuff like that were going to be pushing teeth and stuff like that too. So I think that had some of the biggest impact on her. It definitely has caused a lot of issues through her body. And whenever we're doing the testing with the jaw, whenever we did some release on some of her jaw muscles and stuff like that, she actually had better neck rotation. She had certain muscles starting to work better, especially ones that were not activating. So what's going on with the pelvis rotating left to right like that, her right iliopsoas, which is a muscle that basically ties into the lumbar spine and attaches down onto the femur, that muscle there on the right side with iliacus, another muscle that sits on the inside of the hip, it's another hip flexor muscle. Those two muscles were really strong on the right side. On the left side, not quite so. So what we found on the left side was that her iliacus was working. That's one of the hip flexor muscles on the inside of the hip again, but the psoas muscle was not working at all. She had like zero strength there, so it was just not activating for her. So I was like, okay, why is this muscle not activating, right? So we already checked the jaw. We know that that's part of the problem. Also, whenever I was doing basically a straight leg raise when she's laying on the table, just to see if her, what we call the transversus abdominis, is the deepest layer of muscles within the abdominal wall, if it was functioning. And what was happening is whenever she'd be pulling her left leg up, the whole left side, like her whole belly button, would be rotating to the left. When she would lift her right leg, that didn't occur. So it's telling me that the TVA on the right side was working and nice and strong and stable, but on the left side it wasn't as well. So again, we're having a lot of issues on this left side where muscles are not activating well. So trying to narrow it down and just see what's causing some of the issues. So what I did was I did some different brain-based exercises too, or drills, just to see if they would have an impact, and they certainly did. I also checked another system within the brain called the vestibular ocular reflex. And so that's basically where the eyes are working with the inner ear, or the balance system of the body. in order to hold us upright against gravity and keep our eyes level with the horizon, right? So one of the things I did was just have her walk from one side of my office to the other, but having her focus on one point and doing head nods up and down first. And after we tried head nods to the side as well, as she's staying focused with her eyes on this one point. And so we found that that actually had an impact as well for her deep abdominal wall muscle on the left side, and also for her psoas muscle, which creates this kind of hip flexion movement, right? So we had this other exercise, one I just panned out of, which was the touching of the nose to a dot. Okay, we just had her doing the left side actually. So what that works is like the cerebellum, which is basically like a coordination center within the brain that's receiving messages from all the peripherals, and then after spinning the messages back down once they get information from the different regions of the brain to create movement in the body, right? And so what you have to do is just basically touch your nose and then touch a dot on the wall, touch a nose, and then touch another dot on the wall. But the whole time you're staying focused on the center dot with your left eye. So you're basically using a peripheral vision and you're using your arm at the same time. So you're really working that cerebellum part of the brain in a high manner actually. And so as we did these different exercises, that started to turn on the hip flexor muscles and the deep abdominal wall. So I was like, okay, so this is what we need to add for her homework now, right? The other thing that we need to do is I just wanted to check because she had her right eye not converging properly. So that means that whenever she's staying focused on a point and you're looking at your, let's say a pen or a finger coming in towards the bridge of your nose, both eyes should converge into the center. And for her, her right eye was not doing that very well compared to the left eye. So we tried an isometric exercise, just basically having her, take her to work the medial muscles, or the muscles on the inside of the eye, like closest to the midline of the body. You basically just focus over on this side to get these muscles to start activating more. So you can do different positions, right, just to see what's happening there. And after I would test the muscle again afterwards, like the psoas muscle, to see if that had an impact on that psoas muscle, and it didn't. So after I said, okay, well, let's try saccades. So basically, saccade or eye saccades are exercises where for the eye muscles is basically where you have 2 points. And I'm just going to put this down here for a second. So you have 2 points, and then what you're going to do is you're going to be looking from one point to the other, with your eyes. And I would just cue her. So I'd say, okay, go. Whenever I say go, that would mean, okay, look to the left, and after go, look to the right this time, right? So I had her doing that several times, both just at a horizontal plane, and then I also had her doing it in a vertical plane. After we did that, I muscle tested that psoas muscle again and found that it started to activate even better. So there's definitely a lot of brain-based things that we need to do with her for exercises at home, and also just little drills that you would do, right before your training or even during your training, right? So I explained this all to her yesterday as well. The other thing too was that because her jaw has been so implicated in this because of all the dental work that she had done, I also had her just massaging her jaw and teaching her that in order to be able to alleviate the tension from the jaw muscles. So this way it would open up and free up more neck rotation and neural drive down to the different regions of the upper body and through her back and whatnot too. So as you can see on these points here, so these are different points that we would use to massage the jaw and to help to alleviate some of the tension. And what you would do is just basically go in. So this point here is just at the end of the eyebrow, and you would go in and you would massage that for 30 seconds, just little circles. And the same thing on the actual jaw muscles themselves, and through here there's 6 different points. And so I taught her how to do that, and that would help alleviate some of the tension from there, which again would free up neck rotation side to side, and also help with a little bit of activation in through the abdominal wall and the hip flexor muscle as well. The other thing I had her do for her homework were side planks. just because that whole left side hasn't been working very well for probably a couple of years. I just wanted her to really start to develop those muscles a little bit more on that left side. So just by holding a side plank, for 30 to 60 seconds, that would start to engage things. So what we're going to do is just monitor her, by coming in every couple of weeks just to see me and just see what the progress is. Just because a lot of things that we're doing is very, very specific to her right now. However, as things begin to improve and things begin to change within her body, then we will need to reevaluate where we're at, and then after adjust the exercises that she'll be doing at home and before her training, and also the exercise she'll be doing in the gym. I also instructed her, because she's had a lot of right shoulder pain, just because what's happening is she's getting that reverse rotation, so it's going basically left to right this time, opposite to what's going on down below with the lumbar spine. So it's like turning off her lower trapezius muscle and some of the the rhomboid muscles and stuff on that right side. And so whenever she would do any sort of overhead presses, she was getting impingement syndrome in throughout here, and also her lat was also being affected where it wasn't engaging properly as well, in order to stabilize the shoulder girdle as she's doing any sort of pressing movements. So we had to adjust that too. So I told her, I said, don't want you to do any pressing movements right now. I don't want you to do everything single arm, just until we start to balance some things out. And I gave her some different exercises to do for the upper body as well. So basically, when it comes to pain, when it comes to performance in the gym, performance at your job, you really have to do an analysis and see what's going on within the body, within the mind, because they are all intricately connected. And if you're not doing so, you're going to be missing the boat. So this is where I see a lot of clients who have been all over the place, to different therapists and doctors and whatnot. They haven't found any solutions that have been long term for them. So this is where I try to help. I try to come in and figure out, okay, what is driving all of this, and then after that, we come up with a game plan to be able to help correct these things. But it does take time. It does take patience for clients, because a lot of these things are not quick fixes, especially if you've had major issues as far as physical changes going on within the body, and a lot of pain or chronic pain, or it's been going on for many years. Well, it's going to take some time to change those things. So you have to be patient. You have to do your homework. This is where client compliance is so important, because a lot of people that are especially are not used to doing any exercises or training and stuff, they don't really have that routine built into them. So we need to get that routine built into you. And so we're starting off with just some basic things that don't take too much time, and then after trying to integrate that into your daily routine and weekly routine, makes a massive difference. But if you do actually put the effort in, you will succeed. You will get the results that you're desiring, and you will get out of pain, or you'll increase your performance in the gym, whatever it is, your sport, it doesn't matter. Everybody's the same when it comes to doing the evaluations. It just, some people are going to be better than others when it comes to their physical performance. If they're an athlete, like, especially an elite level athlete, they're going to need a lot, different kind of tweaks and stuff like that too. But it all comes down to the same thing. We're all human, and we need to do the work in order to get better.